Welcome back to our D&D series. As a reminder, this is sort of quick painting tutorials, at least quick for me, of how to paint your various Dungeons & Dragons monsters. Today we have Reaper, and this is a Gloom Stalker, which is obviously a take on a Dungeons & Dragons hook horror. As with all these videos, I try to go with the official paint scheme. So we are starting off with blue. Began with dark Prussian blue, just a heavy wash to get me into the blue realm. And now we're actually starting to base coat with Stormy Blue. In case you're curious, my paint to water ratio is about 1:3. Since we're trying to paint this fairly quickly, we don't want to go too thin of paint and end up adding too many layers and taking too much time. Painting this entire thing simply blue would be rather boring. I wanted to get a few additional colors mixed in, so we're using a mix with red violets around the areas where all the little bumps are on the armor, just to give a little bit of color. That was just a bit of wash. After that, we go back to the highlighting of the blue by highlighting the edges with Ultramarine Blue. Purple for the skin, once again sticking with the art that I found online. And we're going to be mixing in heavy warm gray about 3-4 times for the highlights. Really like heavy warm gray. It's just a really nice color. Also, if you're not aware, the heavy colors in the Vallejo game color range, they're supposed to have more pigment in them. That's why they call them heavy. But in reality, they're pretty much the same thing as Vallejo model color, except for maybe in different shades. But they work the exact same way, and they have the same amount of pigment as a typical model color paint. Heavy brown for the underbelly, and I didn't just want to paint this simply brown and move from purple or blue straight to brown. Wanted to blend it in, and so that's why we're going to be putting on a heavy purple wash to shade it, and that'll help tie that area in to the rest of the creature so we don't have this very distinct line of purple stop, then brown start. it was around this time I was getting a little fed up with this miniature. It was just coming out as a purple and blue bug bird thing, and really wanted to try to get some more colors into it to make it look a bit more interesting. So that's why we're going with German Grey on his feet, and also we're going to use that on the I don't even know if I can call them claws, talons, pointy blades, whatever. But we're using that German Grey on the base of the talons, and then green ochre towards the tips. And then to blend them quickly together, we'll use neutral gray in the middle. And then I followed that up with a Agrax Earthshade wash and a little bit of highlighting with beige on the tips of the blades. My initial plan was to not paint all the little bumps on the armor and skin and simply use the red-violet wash and just wash them and have them the same color as the armor or the skin. But again, I needed something to punch up the model a little bit because it was just looking too blue, so that's why we're dotting them all in using a toothpick. Still wasn't satisfied. Our hook horror is still looking very dull, so I decided to break out some turquoise and light turquoise to do some final extreme highlights on the tips of the armor. This is not a normal color you would use for highlighting. This is more transitioning and trying to add a little bit of a different color to the hook horror to just pump it up, make it look a bit more interesting. And then when all else fails, you break out the GW Null oil. And I was kind of at the point of just kind of slathering this on wherever I felt wanted a bit more contrast. So putting it on the spikes that originally had the red to make them stand out a little bit more, and also some of the recessed detail to give a bit more contrast. When in doubt, go for the Null oil. And that's it for our Gloom Stalker / hook horror. I started painting this thing with gusto, and as I progressed through the miniature, I started thinking more about what this thing is. It's a bird bug thing with huge cartoonish segmented plates, and it's got these ridiculous hands, talons, whatever, claws, that are so huge they're to the point of being useless. It's a very odd creature. While I'm not completely satisfied with the paint job, I think there's some points of interest here. One, using the purple wash over the brown to blend those areas in. That worked well. And to rescue the blue that I was really not happy with, adding the turquoise, which normally you wouldn't think of. I wouldn't think of. But it made it a bit more interesting rather than just using a light blue or something, and it kind of saved the miniature for me. So that is it, and thanks for watching. See you next time.
Delicious kitty. Oh, ouch. Oh, kitty is like a potato. Oh.